Well, folks, welcome back to the show. It is a big day for tennis. Stefanos Tsitsipas has beaten Roger Federer in a very good match in the fourth round of the Australian Open. And this might mark the start of the next gen coming onto the scene. We're going to get into that question on this episode of The Slice. We're also going to ask the question what this means for Roger Federer's career going forward from this. And we're just going to break down the match in general and comment on either guy's play. So welcome to the show. We have lots to get into. So I'm glad you guys are here to go through it with me.
Welcome to the Slice.
Welcome to the Slice.
Thanks for tuning in, folks. Thank you for tuning in. As always, if you're new, hit that subscribe button. It helps us out. And a little housekeeping first. There's been some talk in the comment sections about the pictures on the back here. And since I'm clearly a Federer fan and I hate to see my guy lose, I moved the picture, Federer, over here, and I moved Djokovic behind me for the time being. And Gold Wolf, as he promised in the comment section, would send me a Uniqlo shirt. So I expect you to reach out to me and get my details. And I'm going to be wearing a Uniqlo shirt here in the next little bit. But as it pertains to last night's match, wow, there was a lot of things to talk about. The match started, coming into this match, I thought I previewed it along with Djokovic and Shapovalov, and same with De Minaur playing Nadal. And even now TFO playing Nadal. So we have the big three, which have been dominating. Doesn't need to be talked about anymore for so long. And the next gen has come onto the scene. The new ATP next gen tournament, they've really built up this next generation. Honestly, because I feel like they're worried about what's going to happen when the big three leave. Is it just going to be a wasteland of nobody dominating? There's just no rivalries. There's just random players. Is that what we're going to see? Or are we going to try and triumph these next guys coming in? I think there is a lot of really amazing players coming into form. And there's a short list everyone kind of has in their mind of who these guys are. Shapovalov, Tiafoe, Tsitsipas, they're all involved in it. So previewing these matches, I knew that Tsitsipas-Federer was one of these matches where if an upset happened, it could be a big deal. I think Federer was the most vulnerable out of all these three for it happening because he's just the oldest. And Tsitsipas is the best, I would say, out of these young guys that I've seen. And I'm going to get into why that is. So coming into this matchup, I was like, this is going to be a really juicy match. It's going to be a fun match to watch because the one between Tsitsipas and Federer in the Hopman Cup was that. But it's just going to be a great style. Both guys stay a bit closer to the baseline, especially Federer. And it's just going to be a hard-hitting, great match with lots of coming forward, lots of different things. And that's exactly what it was. First set was super tight. Both guys holding serve all the way through. And what I saw from there was Federer looked always like he had a little bit more into Stefanos services game. But when Federer pressed, it looked like Stefanos Tsitsipas pressed right back and took his pace and used it and hit some amazing shots. That I was like, oh man, Federer might be in for it tonight. That's what I was thinking. He might be in for it tonight. But Federer kept playing well and he was attacking. His forehand he was getting more errors on his forehand than he normally would. Maybe, I don't know. He was hitting a lot of unforced errors. His backhand looked great all night. Except for on passing shots when Stefanos came into it. But the first set was super clean, and then Federer stuck it out in that first set, tiebreaker, won it, and we were like, okay, that's a good thing for him, obviously. Second set, this is where really the match, I think, was almost won or lost. Because what I noticed there, so we got to, let's just fast forward to 5-4 Federer in the second set. Federer has 3 break points, I think, which gives him 3 set points as well. It doesn't convert on any of them. And then it goes to this long deuce game where it would be deuce, and then it would be Federer set point. Deuce, Federer set point. Deuce, Federer set point. And Federer just couldn't capitalize. Stefanos would bomb a huge serve or play a really good point, whatever. It was usually Stefanos stepping up in those big points, which is something to be noticed. But also when Stefanos lost those points to bring him back to another set point, he was usually on an error that he did, which is whatever. But the way that he looked at his box every time, he didn't get too down on himself. He didn't let that point affect the next set point. And then he actually won all the set points, never got broken, held, won that tiebreaker, won the next set, and the match was over. It wasn't that simple. But in this moment, I really saw what I've talked about before is Stefanos Tsitsipas's mental game. I feel like he's cut from a different block than a lot of these other young players. He seems to be more mentally mature at this age. I think he's like 20. And I think that's what won him the second set and which eventually gave him the momentum in the match. And so he could go on to get the only break. The last 2 matches they played, there was only 1 break, and it was Stefanos Tsitsipas. In this match, Federer just couldn't break him for whatever reason. I mean, the guy's like 6'5". He moves like anyone. He defends, slides out into shots, comes to the net, plays attacking. It's unbelievable to watch. Federer did play well. There's some of these rallies where they're both stepping in and hitting it flat and just cracking the ball. And the ball seemed to be coming back and forth at such a higher velocity or higher higher frequency than other matches where, like, between Shapovalov and Djokovic, for example. It was just much more fun tennis to watch for me. Anyways, so I think what let Federer down is not being able to capitalize on, obviously, the 12 break points he had in the match. If he had broken, and I think he had like probably 7 or 8 at the end of that second set, he had won the second set, you got to think that he's taken the match. Because then Tsitsipas' mentality probably would have shifted. Federer would have ran away with it. But you never know. But at the end of the day, Federer didn't pinch that one off there where he needed to. Stefanos stepped up, and then he just made it through in the big moments in the latter half of that match and won. And I think it's a big deal. I do think it is a big deal. So lots has been said about, obviously, John McEnroe said it's a changing of the guard. Other people have downplayed it, just being like, Federer's old, it doesn't matter anymore. The fact is, Federer was tuning people up this whole tournament. He destroyed Fritz. He looked great in that match. He actually looked pretty good in this match. A lot of people are saying he didn't play well. He played well in this match, I think. He was not hitting the ball good. He was serving great. He had about 16 aces. He was playing good. Stefanos just elevated his game and stepped up in the big time in the majors, which we have not seen from the next gen yet. We haven't seen any next geners beat any of the big three in a major yet. We've seen them win Masters 1000s. We've seen them beat them in Masters 1000s and the World Tour finals like Zverev. But this is the first time that a next gener has beaten one of the big three in a major, and I think it's a big deal. That's what I think. It's a big deal. It's not necessarily, Stefanos probably won't go on to win this tournament. If he did, that'd be absolutely unbelievable. And then that would be one of the rarest things to happen in tennis for like the last 15 years. But just, it's the first win. I think it's the first step for the next gen. And I think this will actually give other guys confidence. I see this giving Alexander Zverev confidence when he goes and maybe gets matched up with Djokovic in the semifinals. Maybe this gives TFO confidence to be a slightly older Nadal now. He's running on some confidence right now. So we're going to see about those matches. But I do think this is signals to the other next geners that it is possible. Because I think throughout all the next geners, they all see Federer as the greatest. They all talk about it. And they would have watched that match being like, Federer wasn't gassed. Like, this was not a Johnny Millman in the U.S. Open. This was Federer playing pretty well and Stefanos stepping up and winning. So that all to say, Stefanos deserved to win this match. He played better in the big moments, and he took it, and he deserved that. And I think that Stefanos Tsitsipas, if I had to choose anyone out of the next gen to win a major first, it would be him or Zverev, and it could happen sooner than later. I cannot say enough about Stefanos Tsitsipas right now. His mentality never got too down in this match, even though he's some random line calls, random stuff like that. He's locked in. I like his mentality. Anyways, Federer. What does this mean for Federer's career? Well, I don't think it means too much. He lost in the 4th round of the tournament. That's still an okay result for him. I mean, obviously he's going to lose a lot of points because he won the tournament last year, and it's not great for him. He wants to win it, but going forward, I don't think he'll play clay. We'll see. We'll see. He could win Indian Wells. He could win Miami. I don't think he's had enough tough losses in his career that this isn't going to start it. People are going to stay. So this is the start of the end for him. You know what? That's all hearsay because he played a pretty good match and he lost, and he knows why he lost because he didn't take the big moments when he did. And I'm sure in his mind he's thinking he's frustrated. I'm sure he felt like he lost that match more than Stefanos just to beat him off the court from it. So it's similar to, I think there's a lot of people, the last thing, people are talking about the similarities between this match and when Federer beat Sampras in 2001. There's a lot of similarities. There has to be. It's two guys with similar players, and there's a lot of hype around Tsitsipas. There was a lot of hype around Federer in 2001, but he hadn't won anything yet. Tsitsipas hasn't really won anything. He's won some tournaments. He's beaten Djokovic in Rogers Cup. He's made it to the final to play Nadal in a Masters 1000, but he hasn't won anything yet, and he probably might not win a major for the next couple of years. Neither did Federer when he beat Sampras. It wasn't like he beat him to win Wimbledon. He beat him in a round, and it showed, wow, Sampras was the best player on grass to play. And then Federer beat him, and then he eventually became the best grass court player of all time. Stefanos Tsitsipas beating Federer could be one of these moments, and you never know. It's a huge deal for Stefanos, and it is similar to that, but we'll see how the rest of his next couple of years plays out. We'll see how the rest of his tournament plays out. If he goes on to win this tournament, it'll be a bigger deal than when Federer beat Sampras. So there's a lot of similarities. It's not obviously the same because for Stefanos to do what Federer's done after this is like unbelievably mind-bogglingly hard. And I would say it'll never happen. Stefanos will not have the career that Federer has had, but you also never know. But the bar has just been set a lot higher. But it's been cool. It was cool. Even though I'm heartbroken because I'm a Federer fan, it's been cool to see Stefanos step up and beat Federer at a game where I don't think he choked. Nothing really went wrong. He just got outplayed in the big moments. And I think that that's what the next gen has been missing, that killer mentality, that Mamba mentality of getting those big wins in the biggest matches, in the biggest tournament. Yeah. Let me know more about what you thought about the match in the comments below. And as always, thank you for watching and thanks for subscribing. And stay tuned. Next week, we got a big announcement coming. I love you all, and we'll see you again soon. If you like being cool, click the subscribe button. And if you want to become a better tennis player, watch this video and you'll magically get better at the sport without even practicing.